Body started feeling tap, 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 tap in my heart. And then I said, like, what is wrong? What is wrong? Where did I stop? How would I get out of this? Today's world, everyone wants a solution pretty fast. Give me 1, 2, 3, what to do? What will happen if I walk on the street and I'm hit by a bus? What we see is what we believe, and what we see is very much limited, very much not true. Slowly, anxiety spreads in so many other areas. I can't do this, I can't do that.
Hello and welcome to the podcast Living Consciously. My name is Mihaela Nedelaperianu, and together with Rajesh Ramani, we will host this podcast. Now, Rajesh, I want to give the audience a bit of context, how the two of us met and why we are doing this podcast. We met end of 2011. I was celebrating the New Year's Eve in Kamalaya, Koh Samui, where you were a life enhancement mentor. And since then, we are working together back and forth. And last year, I was attending one of your courses that you delivered together with your wife, Smita, that is called Living Consciously.
Yes.
And I proposed you to do the podcast. And I was surprised that you said yes after a while. So here we are, a Romanian lady with an Indian guy recording in a Romanian studio, thanks to our friend Tibi Filip from Focus 78. That's the name of the studio. We do this because we want to spread your knowledge to as many people as possible. And Tibi was kind enough to offer us the studio. I was kind enough to come up with the idea, and you kind enough to accept. And we do this just to share your wisdom to as many people as possible.
Yes. It's an amazing opportunity for us to gather here. And this is my first time being in Bucharest. And thanks to TB here and your offer as well, we are starting this series of podcasts actually.
Yes.
And then I think it is aptly named as Living Consciously, because each one of these subjects and topics that we will discuss will correspond to some areas of life which we all can improve, can bring greater awareness to. And any little change will help us more towards living our life much more consciously. That means to bring greater awareness, greater fulfillment, a greater sense of joy and happiness into our lives. And I think we all really, really need that one. When we met, we were in Thailand, and then over years, so we have started our own brand, Mindfulness and Beyond, through which we work with people as individuals, in groups, in retreats and online courses. So it is an amazing opportunity for us to share what we want to share with people through this medium of a podcast.
Yes.
And thank you so much for making this happen. And
Welcome.
Today we are here.
Yes, and I'm very glad. So actually, our audience can follow us on your YouTube channel, Mindfulness and Beyond.
Correct.
That's for the international audience. And for those who don't know, I have a Romanian podcast that it's called Întrebări care ne schimbă viața. And I have a podcast with Rajesh, an episode with him in this podcast. And whatever we record can be seen on my podcast and on my YouTube channel and on your YouTube channel. So, Rajesh, we decided together that today we will start with a topic that is very common for all of us. We will talk about fear and overthinking, because we all know what fear is, and the majority of us, we overthink. Now, what's your stand regarding why we overthink and how to deal with overthinking, how to quiet a bit the mind, the monkey mind. And obviously, we will talk about fear as well.
Correct. See, as you mention it rightly, many of us have a tendency to think a lot, particularly when we are faced with a difficult situation. And for some of us, it has become a habit. For whatever situation is, we think ahead into the future, and we project scenarios into the future, and we try to solve the problems of those scenarios in the future. So that means we are constantly exerting a lot of effort into these scenarios. But when you actually think through that, when you're going through that experience, you don't realize it. It becomes so normal and natural, and we would even tell ourselves, we rationalize it to ourselves, I'm doing this so that I can prevent something bad from happening in the future. It could be whether regarding our health, it could be about somebody else's welfare, it could be about a situation that may turn negative or not the way we expected. So this overthinking has become a habit, along with anxiety, along with worrying for many people. And it takes a lot of toll in our life when we leave it unattended or unaddressed, because it starts giving us fears and projections in areas where there is nothing to fear about, or it could be just a normal situation. The more we indulge in that fear-based thinking, it is like a black hole which starts sucking every experience. It starts with a bad experience or potentially bad experience, risky experience, and then it slowly takes into everyday experience. What will happen if I walk on the street and I'm hit by a bus? It could go into any such of scenarios which may appear silly for the other, but for the person who is going through it, it may appear real. So that's why they continue to do that more and more and more. And it takes a toll on relationships. It takes a toll on the energy levels that we have. And then we constantly have to live in fear. It takes a toll on areas of experiences that we have. We may have to shut down some areas of experiences because we are afraid of venturing into that. Or our solution in our mind tells us, don't go there. It is potentially dangerous. So this thinking is not beneficial.
What is the healthy way to address overthinking, to quiet the mind down a little bit? I mean, how do we deal with overthinking? Because we either overthink the past, trying to fix it, to overanalyze it, to feel safe, or we overthink the future. What if, right?
Yes.
And I guess that the majority of us do that.
Yes.
What's the way out?
See, before we find the way out, we have to understand, because when I say understand, we have to throw awareness about what is happening. And today's world, everyone wants a solution pretty fast. Like, give me 1, 2, 3, what to do. And that doesn't work in the inner world that easily. In the outer world, if you want to go from point A to point B, we can have 1, 2, 3 solution pretty much straightforward. But in the inner world of our mind and emotions, it is much more complicated because there are belief systems attached to it. There are past experiences that are attached to it. And then they dictate the way we perceive the world around us, and then the emotions that come up in a particular situations. So the 1, 2, 3 solution doesn't work. The first step, if at all, I would say, is to throw greater awareness into what is happening within. So, for example, overthinking, then there is rumination about the past, and then there is projection into the future. So we oscillate between rumination about the past or worrying about what happened in the past and projecting it either into the future or into the present. So this we call the if-onlys and the what-ifs. The what-if scenarios we create constantly in our mind. And these scenarios, if we take them truthfully and really, we start believing them, then we act upon them.
Okay.
So this is not only overthinking, but it also translates into action. And these actions have consequences again. So start with an awareness of what is happening within. How I am getting caught up in this habit of overthinking or anxiety and how it flows through me. So that will be the first step of awareness. As you see this, you'll also see how it affects your body, because it goes through our body. We feel it in our body. We feel the experience moving through us. The feeling in our body makes the thinking more real. Because when you think, I am scared or something bad could happen to me, it's okay. But when we also feel nervous, anxious in our body around it, then we think it is absolutely real.
For those of us who overthink, and obviously the body has a response because you feel it, either you shiver or you feel that the stomach is tight, or the face is very tight. Physically speaking, how you address it?
See, physically speaking, bring your attention to your body first.
Okay.
So
calm the body first.
Calm the body first. So bringing attention, because the runaway mind takes all attention into the thinking space. So we have to bring it back to the body. Either bring it back to your feet, bringing back to your belly, because the belly is important. This is where we store a lot of fear. So whenever you see we are scared about something, the belly tightens up and we stop breathing deep and we start breathing in a shallow manner. So we have to address the belly, open it up, maybe take a few deep breaths, or even just physically, consciously move our belly to open it up more and more and more. That would help. And along with breathing, so a calming breath, like a deep belly breath or something, calming breath would also help us to bring our energies down.
Can you show me what is the calming breath?
A calming breath is something that like a deep breath. We inhale. Either you breathe out through the nose or through the mouth, something like that, a few times, up to 10 times, and then that itself would calm your whole system. Your nervous system has to be calmed. We are in the fight or flight mode when we are in this fearful place. So we need to bring it more into a parasympathetic nervous system. That is achieved either through our breathing or through mental focus on our body and relaxing the muscles of our body, which gets tightened up. So when you focus on the body and relax it more and more and more, then we can bring greater attention to the mind that is running everywhere. We can't start with the mind.
Okay.
The mind
so
is subtle.
Rationalizing doesn't help. When you are in overthinking, in rumination, in anxiety, is to rationalize.
Yes.
Nothing bad happens, it's just my mind and so on. But what you are saying is that the first step is to ground our body.
Correct.
Right? Either via breathing or wiggling the toes or doing this, putting the attention on the body.
So when you calm down the body initially, then we bring attention to what is happening in our mind. So, see, another important thing here is, why does this overthinking happen?
Why?
Because of our past experiences. Imagine you had a shocking experience in the past, and maybe you were, let us take an example like when I was many years ago, when I was in Tokyo, I got stuck into a bathroom and the door wouldn't open and there was nobody at home. So basically it was a very small space and got claustrophobic and got panicky, and from that panic I somehow scrambled, even trying to break the door open, and eventually after an hour's try the door opened, and that left a strong impression in me about closed spaces. So whenever I walk into an elevator, particularly an old one like a rickety one, and making noises, and if it is a bit too claustrophobic, too small, then the experience would resurface. So the mind would first tell me, like, don't go there, don't get into such elevators, you don't know what will happen. It will never tell you what will happen. So this is first stage, which is called avoidance. People avoid such scenarios. That means they cut off many layers of their life. If I'm in a place where I have to walk up 5 floors or take the elevator, if the impression is strong, the trauma is strong, then I would walk up with my bags 5 floors.
Yeah. And please tell the story up to the end. So you had this experience, because I know it, you had this experience with the toilet. You're stuck in a Japanese toilet that is very small, no windows, no phone. So
Yes.
you got claustrophobic. And then you had the experience with the elevator,
Yes.
right?
And when I was in the, even something happened some time back, and when I was in one of those tiny elevators, and it was one of those elevators with doors on both sides you can open.
Okay.
And different floors it opens on different sides. But I knew about it, but was not so clear about it. So I got into this elevator, pressed the button, and it moved with all these noises and shaky and everything. So, and as I was going through that, a part of my body started feeling this little ticklish sensation that,
Fear?
a fear coming
Okay.
up, and then a memory of that past experience, not exactly the memory of being in that space. That is the beautiful thing of this kind of trauma that is stored in our body. What we get is the feeling of that, feeling of being vulnerable, feeling of not having control, feeling of helpless. So this is this feeling that starts coming up. So as I was going up the elevator, the feeling was there, mild, but I didn't bother, because I said, like, you know what? So what? I'm in this elevator. So, and it's going well. And suddenly at some point it jerked and it stopped. And it really jerked and stopped. So I opened the door and I was staring at a net. And I was staring at the stairs below. And that moment, the mind took over. The overthinking mind, the anxious mind took over, and my body started feeling tap, 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 tap in my heart. And I said, like, what is wrong? What is wrong? Where did I stop? How would I get out of this? So panic starts gripping. So I closed the door, again opened it. It is in the same place. I tried to push some buttons, and then anyway, there was nobody in this building either. I did exactly what I told you. I went to my body. I stamped my foot, opened my belly, took a couple of breaths, and then I turned around and I saw that there was the other door.
The door was on the other side.
And
Okay.
when the door was right behind me, and I opened it, I was on the floor that I wanted to. So the elevator was perfectly all right. But the experience of the past overlaps the experience of the present, even if there are tiny, minute signs of it. This is where we have to be careful in understanding how this works. We are not afraid of the actual experience in the elevator, because the actual experience in the elevator was normal. It is an old elevator. It just goes around, and it stopped in its place. And I wrongly opened a door. That's all. But what comes up is the fear of fear. That is, the fear of my previous fear, of reliving a similar fear from the past, where I felt absolutely powerless or helpless or vulnerable and caught up in a place. It could be the elevator, it could be claustrophobia. For some people, it could be flying. For some people, it could be driving. For some people, it could be talking to someone else, being in a relationship even.
Yeah, I was thinking
it
about
could
it.
be.
Yeah, it extends to, and normally you don't have only one fear; it's a bundle of them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
It comes together with many other fears.
Yes. And if we are not aware enough in resolving this, it slowly includes more and more aspects of life. What starts as fear in one part of life, slowly it includes other parts, because what travels is sensations. The sensations of being vulnerable is what would travel through different experiences. So
Okay.
So people start with anxiety in one area, and slowly anxiety spreads in so many other areas. I can't do this, I can't do that, And this is where we completely get engulfed by that anxiety. And this is basically a fear of reliving a fearful experience.
Okay. And because we want this, all the episodes that we are recording, we want them to be helpful for the people, because I guess that all of us know what our pains are and the fears and the fact that we are overthinking. I would like us to reinforce again what we can do. So, to speak about more about what is it that we can do.
See, the first step that we can do, as I said, is calm down the body.
Yes.
The second step is we become more and more aware, not in the exact moment itself, but later on, we become more and more aware of how these projections are taking us for a ride, and how we justify these actions, or justify our behaviors based on these projections. So we have to become more and more aware of them and shoot them down. When I say shoot them down, not engage in them so fully. Because with the opening of awareness, you would start seeing that they are not absolutely real. So
how do you shoot them down?
You shoot them down by, the beauty is when you are aware, when you see what is happening, already the mind would break things down.
Yes, and we had yesterday at my place a long discussion about awareness, and I think that it's worth mentioning. What are you referring to when you say being aware? Because, for example, if my anxiety hits, what I'm doing is I'm stepping into the movie. Right? And it's like, what you are saying is to take a step back and just observe.
Yes. See, when you start observing, what do you start observing? You start observing that as you said, your body is shaking. Then you start observing that you are in the movie. The movie is running. So once you say, like, I'm watching the movie is running, and then you start seeing the movie itself. So it's like, let me give you an analogy. You are sitting in a cinema and you are watching a movie. At some point, you get engrossed in the movie. That means the emotion of the movie becomes your emotion.
Okay.
And then as you are watching, and as you are either scared or sad or happy or whatever this emotion is going through, at some point, you realize that your body is shaking or you are crying or something. So that is the first point of realization. That means you are already a bit out of the movie. That's why you can actually watch that your body is shaking this way. And then, so this is first step, body awareness. Once your body awareness is, you either shift and then you move and then you breathe and you change. We spoke about that. Then the second stage of awareness comes up, that like, this is just a movie. And then you turn around and there is an exit sign in the cinema with green or red light there. And then you say like, I'm in a movie theater. So it's running. But then it just got connected to my emotions around this. I always get teary when I see something touching or something that is scary. So when you realize that, you are already moving away from the movie. You already know it is a movie and your life is different. So what awareness does is, awareness is to know. As you see, when I watch something carefully, all these projections that our mind create. See, our mind creates perceptions which are not there sometimes based on our emotions. If I am scared, like in my elevator example, when I was scared, I couldn't see that there were 2 doors to that elevator. I couldn't even remember, though I knew I've traveled in that elevator before. But in a panicky mode, in an emotional space, our perceptions are quite limited.
Okay.
So what we see is what we believe, and what we see is very much limited, very much not truth. So when we throw attention on it after calming down the body, this illusory statement, illusory perception that we had breaks down, and then we start seeing reality as such. When you start seeing reality as such, you already react or respond to that reality. So you don't think like, but 15 minutes back I thought there was only one door, so I'm sticking to that one door. No, You now know there are two doors, so you start opening the next door.
Actually, in overthinking and fear and anxiety, you rather react than respond.
Correct.
It's a reaction. In
Yes.
calming first the body, breathing, putting your attention on the body, then you can have a response.
Correct. So
Otherwise,
response
you have
is
a reaction.
Response is something that comes from awareness. Reaction is something that comes from our past conditioning.
And fear.
And
Yes,
fear.
It's fear-based.
So once you address this, the next step of ensuring that we don't fall into this trap again and again and again is to start recognizing that how these so-called fearful situations are actually not that fearful. Because even if you consider it in a rational way, how many times have I been trapped in an elevator? 0 times.
Mm-hmm.
I was trapped in a bathroom 1 time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was 20, 30 years ago. So, in a very rational response, I've not been trapped in an elevator. If at all, some elevators have stopped and then they slowly move to the nearest floor and then they open. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
But my mind creates a picture of absolute chaos, absolute helplessness. So once you bring this awareness to certain level, then you start seeing the reality is so far removed from what our mind is projecting.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates anxiety from that place. So the mind is basically stuck in certain experiences of the past, and we believe that experiences to be so rounded and so full.
They look very real.
They look absolutely real. But the truth is also another one. Many of these traumas are from childhood or some other stage in life, but we may have outgrown them as an individual. Today we have other solutions. We are adults perhaps, but we forget it in that moment. In that moment, we become that child, we become that person who could not solve the problem. So when you throw more and more light on the fear of fear, and which causes anxiety and overthinking and rumination, you would respond to real life as such. That means you have real solutions. Okay, I'm stuck in an elevator, I press a button, somebody calls, and then I come out. Or I sit and I wait. So all these other solutions are so easily available today because we are much more adults or we are in a different situation. So as we practice greater awareness, we will be able to step out of these situations much easily.
Okay, good. Is there anything else that you would like to add on fear and overthinking before wrapping it up?
See, we are here we are not trying to become free of fear itself.
Because that's impossible.
That is impossible in the sense because it is connected extremely to our survival.
Yes.
So there is survival mechanism, whether it is a physical survival, is very strong. But what happens is sometimes we get caught up in illogical situations where there is no real threat to our survival, but the threat to our survival as we imagined in the past, that is what is happening. So the sequence, as I said in wrapping up, is the body, questioning the logic that the mind throws up, the situations that it creates, then addressing the emotion that is underlying that. So as you watch the emotion passes and then calms down. And then 4, recognizing in a rational way how what we are projecting is not so real in real life. So this way we can respond to life situations as such.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.
This is the episode on fear and overthinking. We hope that you found it useful and helpful. Please, once again, subscribe to the channel Mindfulness and Beyond. Rajesh has many courses and tips and meditations on how to deal at a more profound level with fear and overthinking, and also retreats, obviously. And also subscribe to my podcast, Întrebări care ne schimbă viața, and see you in the next episode. Bye!